In an old and austere monastery entrusted to an order of nuns lived a very young nun named Beatrice, of great piety in her religious life and deeply devoted to Saint Mary, to whom she dedicated half of her life. She was continually seen kneeling before the altar in fervent adoration, offering her splendid youth and the purity of her angelic soul to her divine mother. The abbess, an old sister of the convent, professed great affection for her kindness and sweetness, and entrusted her with the position of sacristan of the church, which she carried out with great zeal, artistically decorating the altars with abundant candles and the most varied flowers plucked by her beautiful hands from the leafy garden of the abbey, without the image of the glorious Virgin ever lacking the tribute of the bearing love of her servant. That when Beatrice was very young and extraordinarily beautiful, she aroused the passion of a clergyman who frequented the monastery. He harassed her with passionate language and tried to convince her to flee with him. But Beatrice, who at first resisted with integrity and rejected the loving proposals, felt her strength failing before the onslaught of the strong temptation which, taking over her entire being, came to take over her. She tried to pray, but her devotion had turned into aridity of spirit, and her imagination flew very far, feeling bored with prayer. And once, when the church was deserted, the loving clergyman finally managed to get the nun agree to run away with him. Before leaving, she knelt before the Virgin, telling her, "Sovereign Lady, I who served you honestly all my life until today, who cannot contain this force that drags me away from you, I entrust you with the keys of this church." And placing them on the altar, he escaped from the convent with the clergyman. A short time passed, and the clergyman, once he had satisfied his passion, abandoned Beatrice, who was left with a torn soul and in a great confusion of spirit. Not daring to return to the convent, she became a public woman, living this impious and shameful life for 15 years, tortured by the pangs of her conscience, and retaining a vague hope of forgiveness. One day she was passing by the door of the monastery, and she felt the desire to knock and ask for the sacristan sister, and approaching the door, she knocked with a few knocks. The doorkeeper of the convent came out to open the door, and the former nun asked her, "Tell me, sister, what happened to Beatrice the sacristan?" To which the concierge responded, "She continues very well, as holy and devout as ever, performing her jobs as sacristan wonderfully. All the nuns love her, as she has been in the convent for 26 years, demonstrating great piety." Beatrice left thinking about the mysterious words she had just heard, but without being able to understand them, when the glorious Virgin appeared to her, saying, "Beatrice, daughter, for 15 years in your figure I have performed the office of sacristan. Return to the monastery and continue serving as if you had not left, because no one knows your sin, since they believe that you have continued in your position. Do penance to achieve forgiveness for your many sins." And immediately it disappeared. Beatrice returned to the convent, and taking back her habits and the keys, she continued her job as sacristan without anyone noticed her return. Only the confessor, to whom she revealed her life and her sins, was aware of that miracle, imposing service penance, which Beatrice carried out rigorously, edifying her companion with the example of her heroic virtue and a holy life full of sacrifice. When her last hour had arrived, Beatrice called the entire community which surrounded her on her deathbed, and in a loud voice confessed her sin, discovering the prodigy worked by the Virgin who for 15 years carried out the position for her of sacristan. All of this was witnessed by the confessor, and she died holy at the moment. All the nuns were amazed by that portent and came to give thanks to their heavenly mother who had performed that favor with the nun living 15 years in that monastery.